Hello, good morning, Love Wrestling, Thursday, April 3rd, 2025. Drew is here, I am here. Our names are still in red, though, so hold on, let me do something real quick. Boom! There we are. Yeah, big day today. Obviously, AEW Dynamite aired last night. We'll go over the things that happened there, but we have ourselves a big pay-per-view this Sunday evening. AEW Dynasty. We're going to be going through a full preview there. We're going to go over the Owen Hart brackets that they released that will be starting on that show. But we got David, Scott, Johnny in the chat. Welcome in, gentlemen. Good morning. Glad you guys are here. I have all my notes, all my things pulled up. Before we dive into things, how's Thursday morning treating you so far, Drew?
Pretty good. I have done early morning gym stuff, and I am tired.
Fair enough.
As what generally tends to happen when one does that type of thing. But
couldn't be me.
Couldn't be me.
I have gone to the gym plenty of times in my life. I was never a, hey, let's get up and go to the gym before I have to actually do shit for the day. Disgusting to me. Nope. When I go to the gym, after the gym, I don't want to do anything for the rest of my, like, that's it. The gym is the end for me.
Understandable.
So those people that go, and again, I have plenty of people that do it. I have good friends. I got family that do it. You're one of them. Those people that wake up at like 4 or 5 in the morning and go to the gym.
I don't wake up that early.
Well, yeah, but like the people that like go to the gym before they go to work for the day, I would not feel comfortable the whole rest of the day. I would not feel comfortable no matter what. I'd be like, nope, can't do it. But anyway,
it takes a little getting used to. But
I mean, it looks like I don't go to the gym, period. But you know, back in my gym going days, I was a after work, even like late night PM gym goer, as opposed to the early morning. You know, we might. We might. I don't know. Dynamite was good. I liked Dynamite last night, but I don't know if anything was nipple worthy on the show last night.
I feel like honestly one of the biggest talking points of the day is a not even 40-second backstage thing that happened already at the end of the night. It pretty much was like the last match happened, everything was done, but there's Swerve walking down the hallway, and all of a sudden here comes Hangman, and that quick little 35-40-second interaction was what everybody needed, because that's all
100%.
Everyone's talking about right now.
Yeah. You know, and we'll get into that. Obviously, as Spencer just said in the chat, if you are here, you are rolling in, make sure you smash that like button over on the YouTube for us. Spencer just said we want to get to 20. Let's get to 20. Let's get to 30. I don't care. Tell all your friends. But yeah, smash that.
What the hell?
Smash that like button. It helps us a lot on that end of things. As you can see below us, as was here for Firmly WWE, there is a QR code on the screen. So if you have and are capable That's to support Cole Radrick. Obviously, he had a big injury that he announced on social medias. He's going to be out for a little bit. And much like we did with Alley Catch, our pals, and things like that, like if we can help them, we're going to try to help them. So there's a QR code right down there. If at the very least, if you could share it out, that helps as well. If you can't financially help, sharing it out helps. So we would appreciate anything you guys could do towards that. So smash those like buttons, share this out. If you want your comment, your question, anything at all within reason, anything at all shown on the screen, or have me and Drew address it or talk about it, send a super chat, my friends. You can send a super chat, and that super chat will automatically be shown on the screen. We'll answer any question. We'll talk about, whatever it is you want us to talk about for. No, not that, Ryan. Well, Drew can read that.
I will happily. You please send in a super chat. I will happily read that.
It's been a while since Drew has experienced winning where he's from, so he was going to happily insult the people who actually do win. So it is what it is. How did you guys do last year?
Where were we last year?
I don't give a shit. You can make it there. If you lose, it don't mean shit. Nobody remembers who the World Series losers were. So
you do. You're talking about it.
Well, I'm just saying. You're acting like you're all.
Didn't think I was going to get back at you like that, did you?
I honestly don't care, but you're acting like you're all high and mighty, like you did something last year. Last time I checked, last year we both lost. You just made it further and had more anguish for your fans and let them down bigger because your best player batted about a 100 in the playoffs.
Listen, it happens.
It's okay. You got those bats now. You can hit a lot of home runs because you got those cheap.
More people have those bats than the Yankees.
Yeah, you got the best nerd. You got the best nerd that created those bats. So good for you. Good for you. Anyway, Ryan, if you want to send a super chat about that, that is fine. Drew has said he will happily insult the superior city to where he lives. So feel free to send that. Not only
and
do we win at
sports, I may be right by the home.
You might be meeting me
field of that team that we're trying to trash right now in a few weeks.
Yeah, I'm not trashing them. You saw it last night. You see last night, Garrett Crochet? Goddamn,
I'm talking to Ryan, sir. Me and Ryan.
You guys are having a conversation. Garrett Crochet, dominant last night. Dominant. Anyway, I digress. AEW Dynasty, Sunday evening. Right now, as of this moment, we obviously have a collision to go through. We have 9 matches. We have 9 matches that are booked for the show. There are no pre-show matches listed as of this moment. It is all main card, 9 matches. So we will kind of go through them, and then we'll kind of talk about, obviously we're going to start talking about what is on our thumbnail, which you said was literally a 30-second thing at the end of the show. Obviously, it's a feud that many people consider to be the best feud maybe in the history of AEW. So it's exciting to see them. They've been teasing Hangman looking for Swerve for a long time. They've teased crossing paths, but last night we got that little interaction with Hangman and Swerve. And it was quick, but it was as you expected it, them yelling at each other, being held back, separated by security and other wrestlers and agents and things like that. But it definitely, I don't think it did it add intrigue to the pay-per-view for you? Like, does that really?
Oh yeah.
I mean, for me, it didn't. I don't think it affects the main.
Because
I don't think
there's a possibility that Hangman ends up getting involved.
Yeah, I don't think he should though.
Why?
Because I just think he should win the Owen, and it should be him and Swerve after that. I don't think he should get involved in the match. Like, is he going to help the Death Riders beat Swerve?
It's a big conflict in his mind right now, and we're gonna find out on Sunday who he's gonna end up helping.
Or he can just stay the fuck out of it. That'd be cool. Just let the world title match go the way it's gonna go. That'd be cool. That's kind of how I would again. Hangman and Swerve don't like each other. They're one of the true 2 or 3 worst rivalries.
Boston is the worst. The fans have become worse in the early 2000s. Cowboys fans, yes, the ones after the dynasty. Thank you, Ryan Sullivan, for your $5 super chat. And I'm gonna just leave it up there a little bit longer
No,
because
we're
it
not
says,
actually,
oh,
but we're not. But yeah, I mean that
he has
is
to control the feeling,
factually
sorry.
incorrect. That is factually incorrect. But yeah, I mean it is what it is. Fans become worse. I mean, at least we like the early 2000s. The Cowboys haven't won a play, like haven't been anywhere, and like at least we win in other sports. I mean, I feel like we're not worse than them. The Cowboys fans are clinging on to wins from 30 years ago. We won a championship last year, literally last season. We won a championship. We're going to win another one in that same sport this year. Anyway,
We'll see.
uh,
The reason why I think that this is very intriguing was because of the look that Hangman gave Swerve after Swerve said, "I know." And it was that look of like true I would say there was confusion, there was internal thoughts on his own behavior the last 7 months.
mhm.
And now I know, Ryan. It I have to deal with this every Tuesday and Thursday. So um it's really like, oh, so he's acknowledging now. You could see on his face that's like, oh, so he actually did something that I never thought he was gonna do.
Mm,
He acknowledged his wrongdoing.
mhm.
And while he has been facing or trying, he as he said in last night, he said, I made a promise that you will never have the AEW World Championship again.
Yeah.
And Swerve's retort of, listen, you just got to move on. You got to move on with your life is real. Like this was one of the most real feeling things I've felt in a while. Sort of very human of just like, listen, this thing is bothering you, but you got to snap out of it. You've got to move on. And I think what is now going to help Hangman move on is the acknowledgement from Swerve that he messed up and he realizes that he deserved what Hangman did to him.
Could be.
So now this is the next step in the story. Now at Dynasty,
He should help Swerve.
he might. I don't know.
I
See,
feel I
the
I
thing
feel like
about
that's
the thing about being human about everything is that we have flaws. And what might happen
let me speak for
is
you, sir.
that hey now,
I don't have any.
when Hangman is walking away,
Mhm.
the inner thoughts are going, and he's saying to himself, "Oh, so he's acknowledging this, but can he let go of that anger? Can he move on?" Because his intentions for Dynasty were to make sure that Swerve did not leave with that championship, even though Moxley has been on a tirade and has been running rampant and holding the belt hostage and holding the company in a sense hostage. Because it's not just the world title, it's the trios titles as well.
Mhm.
Will that anger and that red that he sees in his eyes, will that be circumvented by Swerve acknowledging that he was wrong? Or will he still not believe that Swerve truly feels that he was wrong? Is there
Mm.
gonna have to be an apology first?
I don't know. I don't know. Johnny says the path to forgiveness. Love that angle. They will end up partnering out of necessity. Um, yeah, I don't. I look at it, and as excited as I was for them to kind of cross paths again, like I said, I kind of it does not make logical sense because you have and you make good points because Hangman's whole thing since the beginning of this has been, I don't want you to be champion. I don't want you to be champion like ever, ever. And now we're in a situation where the whole of AEW doesn't want the current champion and his goons to have that belt anymore. That's where we're at. They're not all working together to get it away from them, but like the whole of the company of AEW is like trying to rid themselves of the Death Riders, right? So that is the question now, because to me, if Hangman does get involved in this main event, which I would rather him not, but if Hangman does get involved in this main event, it would have to be to help Swerve if the Death Riders get involved. Because if he's just going to help Swerve lose, that doesn't make sense for the whole story they've been telling with Hangman. Because why would he help John? Like, I understand why would he help Swerve, clearly, because I don't think he should. That's why I think he should stay out of it. But why would he help John Moxley at all? Like, besides his hatred for
The thing
Swerve,
is that
you know what I mean? It's just not enough for me.
Just like last year's Revolution, when it was the triple threat with Samoa Joe and Swerve and Hangman, he made sure that Swerve lost by him losing.
Mhm.
He had to lose in order for Swerve to lose. And he was okay with that.
Yeah.
He actually and I never saw that as Hangman helping Samoa Joe. It was all about Hangman screwing Swerve. And in the similar vein, I would say Hangman wouldn't be doing it to help Moxley and the Death Riders. He would just be doing it to screw Swerve.
Which I get, but at the same time, we've been telling this story for months now of Hangman getting back to his good guy ways. And I feel like him doing that would completely negate anything that he's done to this point to get back to the kind of good guy ways, regardless of it being
But
Swerve.
and that's where the true redemption starts.
Yeah, by him not doing it or helping Swerve, to me. You know?
I don't know.
That
I
that's
could
how I view
see,
it.
and listen, I am by no means advocating that Moxley retains on Sunday. Okay,
We're
I'm
obviously gonna
not
talk about it,
advocating
but I
for it.
mean, it could happen.
But what they've been doing with the Death Riders and since Revolution
It's been good.
has been way better
Yes.
than the last 5 months.
Yes.
Way better. Way
Yes.
better. And if it takes Swerve losing because Hangman still can't let it go, that sets up Swerve potentially becoming the wild card in the Owen.
Potentially.
Because Hangman is facing the wild card, and we're going to talk about the
Yes.
bracket also, because
Yes.
we're going to have a couple of matches on Dynasty regarding the Owen Cup. So
Mhm.
everyone's like, oh, is it going to be Darby? Is it going to be Jeff Jarrett? Is it going to be, whomever? It's going to be somebody directly related to Hangman. And if it turns out that it's Swerve, because Hangman costs Swerve the match at Dynasty.
Mhm.
I think there's a legitimate case for the setup to All In be Hangman's redemption story after realizing actually that was the wrong thing to do at Dynasty, and I should have let Swerve win. And at All In, that's where Hangman comes in and finally goes, "Yep, you're the guy, and I apologize." And now that's the feel good moment of the year. I get
But
that. Listen.
Will Ospreay is winning the Owen. So I
Maybe
feel
not.
like, no, Will Ospreay is winning the Owen.
The Owen is
I would
not.
bet my
All In
house
is not
on it.
in London this year.
I know, but Will Ospreay will win the world title at All In. That I am almost as confident as anything that I've ever been in with AEW that Will Ospreay is the guy
these
that they
days-
are preparing to win the world title at All In.
These days, I do not hold stock in any opinion that I have because anything changes on a dime.
I mean, that's fair. That's fair. But it feels like the trajectory.
Jay White was supposed to be in this, and now they had
it's
to
injured.
do a whole
Obviously,
thing.
if Will were to get injured, that would change things. Like Jay White got injured, so he's not in the tournament anymore, unfortunately, because it seems
I don't
like
think if Swerve wins on Sunday, I don't think Will wins the Owen Cup.
Look at if Swerve wins the title, to me it should be Hangman, because it should be Swerve and Hangman clearly. But for me, I look at there's a reason why he was the first person that announced for the Owen, that announced he was doing the Owen, was Will, because Will's winning it. And Will's going to go probably win the world title at All In. Like, he's the guy. He's been the guy. Everybody has been talking about why it's taken so long for him to really go after, like, honestly, really, really go after the world title. I know he had the match with Swerve, but, like, people have been waiting for Ospreay to, like, go for the title.
Right.
I think we're at that point. I think this is it. Like, this is the point where Will is going to, and now we have a tournament that very much easily allows Will to go, get the title shot that would get him the title. That's the only thing for me where it's like, I like the story you're telling there, even though, like I said, I don't want Hangman involved in the match on Sunday at all. I just want one-on-one match. Swerve should win. Don't know if he's gonna still, but Swerve should win. But I just want just give me a regular match. I know if the Death Riders get involved and Hangman wants to come out and make, however they do it.
Because I'm thinking now at this point, Jay White's out. FTR and Copeland are going to be involved in other things. So who knows that they're even going to be able.
Well, they're doing the trio, so they're technically still going to be involved with the Death Riders at least on Sunday, because they're fighting.
I don't know if post match. I don't know if anybody's coming out to help Swerve though.
Yeah, that's fair. It's fair. It's fair.
With what be potentially happening there, we'll talk about that. But I think that if Swerve wins, we should probably get Hangman, or I don't even remember the brackets now. But,
I got them. So on the left side, for the men's, I have both, but for the men's, on the left side of the bracket, it's Will Ospreay versus Kevin Knight, which is happening at Dynasty.
Yes.
We have Brody King and Takeshita on that left side as well. And then on the right side, on the top, we have Mark Briscoe and Kyle Fletcher, and then we have Hangman in the wild card. So whoever wins between Hangman and the wild card is going to face Kyle Fletcher, because Mark Briscoe's not beating Kyle Fletcher. And for my money, it's probably going to be Will Ospreay versus Takeshita, because Brody King just doesn't win matches unless he's fighting Lance Archer. So I'm glad they gave him a win last night so he could lose on, the next time he wrestles. So that's good. I was
thinking about you last
That's good. That's good. I'm glad we finally gave him a win for the first time in 3 fucking months so he can lose. And don't get, I love Takeshita, but like, what the fuck? Can Brody King win some goddamn matches and do something? You give him, again, and I like the match with him and Archer, two big dudes beating the shit out of each other. I thought it was a good match. I liked the match. Obviously, Brody King was going to win that match, but they just had him win that match so he looked good going into another defeat that he's going to have to Takeshita. And it annoys the shit out of me. Not because it's Takeshita. Takeshita clearly deserves to be in the semifinals of an Owen Hart. He deserves to win the thing. He's that level of guy. But, like, Brody King deserves to win shit too. And he never does. And it bothers me to my wit's end. Anyway. But that is the men. That is the men's. So, again, it's a good bracket. We have to figure out who the wild card is. But, like, you're talking the second round is going to be Ospreay and either King or Takeshita, most likely Takeshita. So you're talking Ospreay and Takeshita, and you're talking Kyle Fletcher and most likely Hangman. Or if that wild card is somebody gigantic. I personally think it's going to be Jeff Jarrett because they're just going to reverse what they did last year. But Hangman's going to beat him again. But that's what I think. It's the Owen, Jeff Jarrett and the Owen. Yeah, I think Jeff Jarrett should be a guy that's always in the Owen. As long as it's his last year too. Like, yeah. So I personally, I don't think the wild card is going to be anybody that's like, holy shit.
I didn't really expect it to be, I thought maybe like a good wild card would have been MJF.
That's the second guy that I have. That's the second guy that, like, when I think about the wild card, I think it's either Jeff Jarrett or I think it's MJF because he openly said he's not done with Hangman. I know he's dealing with the hurt.
Look who's back when you mentioned Jeff Jarrett.
Yeah. I know he's dealing with the Hurt Syndicate right now, but MJF made it clear that he wasn't done with Hangman with that one match last month. So MJF doing that would be another one, but then that's either Hangman or MJF losing a first round tournament. I don't know if you want to do that. A couple people, including Spencer, Josh Alexander is a name that's been floating around, obviously.
I didn't think about him.
But again, if they're fighting Hangman Adam Page, I don't want Josh Alexander debuting and losing in his first match.
Right.
Because he should not beat Hangman Adam Page. He should not. And I like Josh Alexander. Excellent signing. Excellent wrestler. He should not be debuting and beating Hangman Page in the round one of the tournament.
Last night I was roundtabling and Sinner did mention maybe Danielson being the wild card, which I don't know what's going on with his neck and that whole thing. I've not heard anything about that. I don't think
he had an interview recently, I think, or it was maybe I think the Sean interview was taped a little while ago, but he said he wasn't feeling great. Whenever he did that interview, he was like, I do not feel great. I do not feel great right now. I don't know how recent that was.
In January, that interview.
Okay. So that's all. Okay. Well, yeah. So that's a couple months. And at that point, he was saying he didn't feel good. His body didn't feel good. So I don't know. But I do feel like we are going to get Danielson at some point here.
I would say if all signs right now are pointing to Swerve potentially not winning at Dynasty, and I can understand that move if the next 2 months of the Death Riders is phenomenal. But if you have him lose and it just goes back to the same bullshit,
well,
it's going to be very hard for me to come here on a Thursday and talk about AEW because it's going to be, I'm going to probably sound like a WWE troll because I'm going to be hating on a lot of shit. So,
but my thing, yeah.
Let's preview this match now, so this way, since we're talking about
I was going to say, Pluggo is convinced that they're doing this on purpose. Like, obviously, like, they're doing this. Like, Pluggo, again, obviously, we'll probably talk about it tonight on Beards, but Pluggo, last time we chatted, he thinks that Mox is going to win this match because he thinks they're doing it on purpose to get the crowd to feel the way that you will feel. So when he finally does lose, it's a bigger deal. It's a bigger deal. Because everyone's going to find. I mean, I think most of us are already there. Even though the last month of the Death Riders, I've been enjoying it. I don't know
It's
why
been
it
better.
took
Yes, I
5
agree.
months for it to get to this point, but if they were doing this type of stuff from the get-go, I feel like we'd all would be way more into it, if that
Yeah,
makes sense, because I
exactly.
think it's been way more intriguing since Revolution, uh, as opposed to what it was before that. But then again, is it way more intriguing now since Revolution because the opponent is somebody like Swerve, who is clearly a one of one type of guy? You know what I mean? Like, is it Swerve being the opponent, which is why this feels better on the Death Rider story, or is it because they're actually doing good stuff with it? Like, have they really changed what the Death Riders have been doing here, or is it just we all like Swerve and
I
Swerve is
will say,
fucking
you know
awesome?
what? I will say yes. I will say they have
You know?
changed what the Death Risers have done a bit, not hugely, but a bit, because it's not had like when the Death Riders music played last night, I was actually pumped and ready for the match.
Well,
And
yeah,
I've
I mean, who
not
doesn't love a mixed
been
tag?
thrilled lately.
Yeah, the mixed tag ruled. It was a good match too. It was a fun time.
It was that was a really, really fun mixed tag, and a lot of intergender stuff as well. It wasn't
I mean,
just
yeah,
like, oh,
after
men,
the match,
men,
too,
especially,
Moxley
yeah.
dropped her.
Um, Getting Marina back in the ring is awesome. I've missed
Mm-hmm.
her. That was really great to see. Um, and yeah, Swerve. I really liked Swerve and Willow as a tag, actually.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, and the ending, of course, was Willow pushing Moxley off the apron into a table, and then she got Marina. Was she get Marina to tap out, or did she pass out? I don't remember.
I want to say she passed out. No, she pinned her with the doctor bump.
Oh no, she pinned her. Right, right.
Yeah.
Um, and Moxley just like waddles back into the ring, and it didn't look like that was such a like that was like an RKO out of nowhere style, like
Mm,
a true RKO out of nowhere. It was just DDT boom. I was like,
mm,
whoa. just it just really came out of nowhere.
yeah.
And that anger that Swerve had because Moxley did that
Mm,
propelled us then into the end of the night,
mm-hmm.
where after the match that we'll talk about later, um Swerve is walking down the hallway, and then as we've addressed, Hangman comes up to him and they have their little thing.
Mm-hmm.
And not like 15 seconds after Hangman walks off, here comes the Death Riders beating down Swerve. Oh, well, actually, wait, I'm sorry. There's one thing that we also have to mention. There was an argument that happened before Hangman popped up between Swerve and Nana.
Mm, yep.
They were going back and forth, and Nana left in a fit. He was like, I'm not doing no, and we don't really know what that was about.
Mm-hmm.
I'm assuming maybe it was about, hey, don't go and potentially get yourself injured before Dynasty and go after the Death Riders.
Mm-hmm.
But for Nana to just like dismiss him like that was a little weird. It was like how they did it with the Ricochet Swerve match. You know, when Swerve shoved him and then he walked off. It gave me that feeling again. It was like, oh, I thought they were, everything was good there. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what's going to happen there. But the Death Riders get him out to the ring, and then they have a glass and a bucket, and they power bomb him into the glass. But, and this is why I have to disagree with Spencer in the chat. He said that he enjoyed the mixed tag last night, and then they ruined it with the Dynamite having the same ending they always have.
Yeah, the sit up with Swerve. Is that what you're gonna talk about? When he sits up.
Yeah,
It's pretty dope.
that
It was a dope thing. I was like, oh, I was like, okay,
yeah,
that was
that
cool.
was
All
like
right. Yeah.
And the realization in Mox's face too of like, oh, this is not like anybody I faced.
Yeah, I'm dealing with a different kind of cat. I'm dealing with a different kind of cat here.
So, and yeah, Scott, I agree. The ending made Swerve look very strong, and I'm really now excited for um this match on Sunday because anything can happen. Everyone's saying, "Oh yeah, Swerve's gonna win. Swerve's gonna win. Swerve." Let's hold on a second. It's not a guarantee that Swerve wins a dynasty. I know they're doing the, "Oh, I'm Mr. Dynasty," and he won last year a dynasty, and he signed at the dynasty prior. Like dynasties, like his pay-per-view, but doesn't mean that Swerve's winning on Sunday.
I agree. I listen, for me, with what we've seen with this Death Rider story, I don't know how you could ever fully bet against the Death Riders. Because there have been multiple times in this where we've been like, oh, all right, yeah, this is the person that's, and they just always do this, they interfere, they do what they have to do, and Moxley leaves as the champion every time. So I don't know how, even on other times where we thought like this is the Moxley's going to lose, it was like, nope, they just did it again. They just did the same thing again. Obviously, I think this one feels a little bit different because I do feel like Swerve is just so well liked, and so he's just so good and well liked that we all want kind of Swerve to win. I feel like we all kind of want him to win, but
we want him to win because we're worried about what happens if he loses. Does it become the same?
Yeah.
Circling around random feuds that no one's gonna win until All In, which is 3 months away. 3 months away. Do we want Moxley to retain and continue the last 5 months of the Death Riders before Revolution for the next 3 months to All In? Because if Moxley retains at Dynasty, he is not losing the title for at least 3 months. It's a guarantee. He is not losing the title at Double or Nothing. He is going to lose it at All In.
I would say if Swerve doesn't do it on Sunday, I would think that Moxley won't lose until All In. That's what I would believe. Even though Double or Nothing is a big show, it is one of their big 2 shows. I do feel like All In would be the time that they would do it if he doesn't lose on Sunday, because you can clearly build Swerve to a big match at All In for the title as well, because Swerve is about as over a guy at the top of the card that they have. So I don't really know. Where they go about it. But, and then there is, for me personally, all this stuff happened after, like the stuff at the end of the show with the glass and the stuff like that. Was that after the Hangman and Swerve thing happened after that or before that? Because the show ended with the sit-up, right? With the death. Yeah. Like that's how, so that happened before.
Yeah.
Because I think that Nana was pissed that Swerve admitted that he deserved what Hangman gave him. That would be
no. That was before.
That was after that. So that happened before.
First, it was Nana and Swerve,
and
Nana
then it was the
cross.
Yeah, then Hangman walked into frame, and they had the crossover right there. Yeah. Right. Okay. I'm trying to get my shit in order, and I'm just like, what is? Yeah. So I wonder what Prince Nana. Maybe because Prince Nana has always been the kind of guy that's like, don't focus on bullshit, focus on the title. So maybe he was upset that Swerve was like going to look to fight Moxley, and he was just like, hey, we should just let this go and just get prepared for Sunday. Like, let's just like not do this and like get ready for Sunday. And Swerve was just, his eyes were red. He saw red and he was like, no, I'm taking care of this now. And I don't think Nana agreed.
So now Sinner says that he doesn't see Mox as the main event for All In being the draw AEW needs. I will tell you now that while I don't necessarily disagree with that, if he retains that dynasty, everyone is going to want to be at All In because that's when he's losing, and it's probably going to be in some grandiose WrestleMania 40 main event night 2 style fashion, where and whoever, if it's going to be Will, if it's going to be Hangman, if it's going to be Swerve again, if he gets put into the wild card, or Darby, if Darby ends up being Darby's not going to be a wild card because of Everest, but and they should not be waiting for Darby at this point.
I still feel like they are.
Because Darby is not going to be back until at least after Double or Nothing.
But nobody knows that. Everyone always says, like, I have not seen anything on Darby's end saying that, like, is he putting out stuff saying that he's preparing or he's leaving? Like, I haven't. Yeah, exactly. So everyone is just assuming that he's still doing Everest because we've heard this for a year that he's doing Everest. But I have yet to see anybody come to the real conclusion of whether or not that's actually happening or not.
So last night, and this isn't what it is, but wouldn't it be crazy if it was this? I had been thinking all day, for whatever reason, I just had it in my brain. What if it turns out that this Everest thing was a swerve and Darby ended up joining the Death Riders?
No, I think I still think I still think as of this moment, even though I think Swerve should win on Sunday, I still think Darby is still the guy. I have not been swayed off that Darby is still the guy. When this whole story starts, it is still set up for Darby to come back and be the guy.
The stories change, though. Like, that's the thing.
It has.
Look at how many people were originally involved with the Death Riders in the beginning.
I get it.
How many of those people are still involved? I mean,
I get it. But Mox never becomes the champion. In general, he never becomes the champion if he didn't bully his way through Darby to get it. And that was Darby Allin's world title match. And Moxley bullied his way to get the match with Darby.
Get it. I totally agree with you.
I just feel like that's still the story.
But here's the thing, though. In order for Darby to be the guy, he's got to be in the Owen and he's got to win.
Well, there is a wild card.
But when... It's not like, here's the thing, though. It's not like you can climb Mount Everest and then come down from Mount Everest and do a wrestling match.
But I don't... Why does everyone assume he's still automatically climbing Mount Everest?
So you think he's not climbing Mount Everest?
What the hell's he waiting for? He's been gone off TV for 6 fucking months. What are you waiting for?
He was training and getting ready for it.
Wasn't he doing that last year before he got hurt? What are we doing?
I don't remember him.
Well, we've been waiting 2 years for this guy to climb Mount Everest. Fucking give it up already. Like, again, personally, and you know how I feel about this. Like, I'm all for people checking off life goal boxes, and if that's a life goal for you, Darby, good. If I was Tony Khan, I wouldn't let his ass get anywhere near there. Not while you're under contract with me, buddy. Sorry.
Hey,
I pay you money.
Like 2 months ago, I went on a rant about that.
Yeah, I pay you money. You're under contract for me. You're not climbing Mount Everest. I need you for the wrestling show that I pay you a lot of money to be a part of. So I wouldn't even be letting him go. But it is what it is.
It's just like Spencer putting the...
And that's fine. That's fine. But like, are we really going to put, like, it's just, I don't know. We've been hearing for 2 years that this guy's going to climb Mount Everest. He hasn't been on TV for months at this point. Like, what are we waiting for? Like, either, like, it's just, I don't know. I'm just, because he to me is the logical choice to end the Death Rider story. And there's just, it's like, okay, well, the reason, I don't know. It just bothers me. Like, where is he? Where is he? Like, either go climb Everest and show me a picture of you starting to climb Everest so I know you're definitely climbing fucking Everest, or get the fuck back on the television program.
I will say it is a little strange that there's been no like update.
Nothing. They haven't talked about
Chat,
they don't
Spencer
even.
Sinner, has anybody seen any update on him climbing Mount Everest at all? Like it's been silent completely since he left. And
And
it's
then
a little
everyone,
weird.
yeah, and everyone is just under the oh, he's climbing Everest. Is he? Is he? Because I haven't heard a damn thing about it, except that we know that that's something he wanted to. I haven't heard anything about it, and it's just like, what? I just don't get it. I just don't get it.
Well, okay, Spencer does have a point there.
It's just, again, like, no, I'm cool with surprises. But at the same time, like, I don't want us to waste time talking about Darby Allin if Darby Allin's not coming back for 3 months because he's climbing Everest. Because we've wasted now 5 minutes about talking about Darby Allin, where if I knew he was definitely climbing Mount Everest, I wouldn't have been talking about him for 5 minutes. I just don't know, which is the annoying part. I don't care about not knowing whether he's coming back to the AEW programs that I watch. I would be pleasantly surprised if he was the wild card. What I want to know is he definitely climbing Mount Everest so I can not think about him anymore? Because to me, he's still the main guy that should end this story. But if we're going to go let him fucking lollygag up a mountain, then whatever. Whatever. Again, like I said, if I was in charge of the company, I'd be like, you can do that when you're not under contract with me. Because what if you die?
Cool. Yeah, cool. Listen, you're just recapping the rant that I had months ago about this. So yeah,
ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
But anyway, the only way it makes sense for me for Darby to be the guy is if he is the wild card and faces Hangman. But if the Mount Everest thing is legit and he is still doing that, it is pretty much impossible for him to be the wild card.
We're not going to see him until the summer. We're not going to. Again, right now, I think Jeff Jarrett is going to be the wild card. I think Jeff Jarrett is going to do the same thing that Hangman did to him a year ago. Just obviously, Jeff Jarrett's not going to beat Hangman like Hangman beat Jeff Jarrett last year. But
because Jeff Jarrett doesn't climb mountains, he is the king of them.
He is the king of the mountain. That is true. That is true. All right. We should probably start talking about this card for AEW Dynasty. And let's start. Yeah, like I said, 9 matches here. Let's start with the tag team match because they had a segment last night on Dynamite that involved somebody who's not on this show on Sunday, and that is Maxwell Jacob Friedman. They had a little segment in the ring. Obviously, they are fighting Big Bill and Brian Keith for the AEW World Tag Team Championships at Dynasty. Big Bill and Brian Keith beat Top Flight and a bunch of jabrones, and that somehow earned them a title shot. So that's how we got there. MVP's like, hey, go beat people. Hey, go win some matches. They beat Top Flight, which I consider a credible tag team victory over Top Flight. I consider that to be a credible victory. Yes. Then they faced 2 jobbers on Wednesday. And about last night, in 30 seconds, they beat 2 guys you never heard of before. And somehow that earned them a title match? Okay. But either way, they are fighting for the tag team championships.
Brian Cage is injured. Center.
Yes, Brian Cage is injured. That is why. That is why that is not happening. I feel like that would have been the match this month if Brian Cage was healthy. Clearly, they felt like they were going to that next after the Outrunners, but obviously they had to swap in. I expect this match to be good. I think this match will be better than the one they had with the Outrunners. So I expect this match to be pretty good. But again, I have not an ounce of me thinks the Hurt Syndicate are losing this match. They are 1,000% going to retain these tag titles. But I did want to talk about the segment on Dynamite last night with MJF and the Hurt Syndicate. Now, Shelton was not there. He was having travel issues, so Shelton was not there. So it was just Bobby and MVP there last night. So they make their way to the ring. MJF comes out immediately before they can even say anything. He apologizes for the interruption. He puts over MVP, says you look great, blah, blah, blah. And he puts all three of the Hurt Syndicate guys over, like he's trying to butter them up a little bit. He says, Lashley, he goes, Bob, he goes, you've been around the block. He goes, but now you're in AEW, and this is the block that I built. And he says that me joining the Hurt Syndicate is just good business, and everybody knows that. And he kind of puts his hand on Bobby's shoulder. And he says, you might not want MJF, but you need MJF. And Bobby's like, okay. And then Bobby just goes, hey, out of respect to MVP, I'm not going to drop your ass right now. I'm not going to drop your ass right now. But I don't like you. I don't trust you. And the Hurt Syndicate does not need you. So unless you prove otherwise, you need to get out of my face and get out of this ring right now. And Max says, okay. He goes, all right, I'll prove myself. He thanks them both for their time, and he leaves. So that was kind of the segment that we got last night between MJF and the Hurt Syndicate. Then we come to this match on Sunday. Do we think that MJF potentially helps? Not that they need it, but do we think that MJF proves himself by like helping the Hurt Syndicate win this match on Sunday? Somehow? Trying to think of how he could prove himself to Bobby Lashley. How could he prove him? Because MVP already wants him in. So Bobby and Shelton, even though Shelton wasn't there, Bobby and Shelton are the two that don't want him in because MVP wants him. So how can he prove himself to, more important, to Bobby and Shelton?
So that could be. I didn't think about that. That could definitely happen. Some people are, we're seeing Fernando at least speculating that MJF cost the Hurt Syndicate.
I don't think,
but I don't think that happens so quickly.
Yeah, no, I don't think they lose the titles to Big Bill and Brian Keith.
And there's a story there with Chris Jericho right now. So
yeah, I could see that happening down the line of MJF costing them the titles, like down the line after this plays out a little bit to a more, not that, and I like Big Bill and Brian Keith, but to a more established team that would win the titles from the Hurt Syndicate. I don't think Big Bill and Brian Keith are those guys. So while I don't dislike the idea, Fernando, I don't think Sunday's the right time for it to be happening. I think he helps the Hurt Syndicate on Sunday, if anything.
Yeah.
I think he helps them.
Which will anger Bobby Lashley because he doesn't want to be involved. Correct. And that'll continue that. So eventually so I'm actually almost confident now that happens.
Because he said, I'll prove myself. Fine, I will prove myself. Well, how does he exactly do that? Besides helping them do stuff, win, you know what I mean? Like, it's the only way he can, right? So, like, I feel like that is kind of definitely gonna happen, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. Just so you know, when I was going through, I have my notes, but then I always run through cage side seats for, like, just to double check my notes. They had the learning tree versus, and the title that they put for the two guys were Some Poor Guys. That's what it says. Learning tree versus Some Poor Guys. Apologies for not getting these guys' names, but they won in 30 seconds. Yeah, so that made me laugh. All right, so yeah, we do think that the Hurt Syndicate beats the learning tree. And I think, we just became a line that MJF will probably have something to do with it to try to prove himself worthy of joining the Hurt Syndicate. You know what? Somebody mentioned in the chat, bonkers. Let's go there next. We have a title versus mask match for the Ring of Honor World Championship. It will be Chris Jericho putting the Ring of Honor World Championship on the line against Bandito. And if Jericho wins, Bandito must hand over his mask to Jericho. They obviously had the story with Bandito's brother, Gravity. At the last pay-per-view, they were supposed to have a match on the pre-show. It did not become a match. The Learning Tree just beat the piss out of Gravity and stole his mask in front of his mother and sister and Bandito. And so this is kind of the culmination. 100%, David. The mask for the luchadors and that tradition, it's sacred. It's sacred. You don't take your mask off for anything. And so that thing that they did with Gravity, You know, that's a big deal. That's a big deal. It might not seem like it's a big deal because it's Gravity, the guy that it happened to, but like that is a major, major deal in luchador wrestling and just stuff like it's a major deal. So for Bandito to put his mask up, it's a big deal. But the fact that it is a big deal gives me hope that Bandito is going to win this, Drew, and become the new Ring of Honor World Champion, and we can get that title off of Jericho.
Yeah,
that's my hope. That's my hope.
And I'm really going to enjoy Jericho berating Big Bill and Brian Keith for not winning while he also didn't win.
Yes. I do think that that is a way, though, that you can get Big Bill and Brian Keith away from him.
Well, like I said, there's a story there happening right now.
Yeah.
With dissension between them. So this will further it for sure.
Yeah. Agreed. It is those vibes. I do remember that. I do remember that early Jericho collecting masks. It does feel a little bit that way. Okay, let's keep going here. We have, let's talk about the Owen. Let's do the Owen because the rest of these matches are all for titles, literally all for titles.
Yeah.
So we have 2 first round, or technically quarterfinals, they call them because there's only 8, but it's first round Owen Hart Foundation tournaments. On the men's side, we saw them tag team last night. First of all, Kevin Knight. What a weekend. What a weekend for Kevin Knight, huh? Has that great match on Saturday. Gets the contract and the graphic Saturday after that match. And then he teams up with Will Ospreay last night. They have a good tag match. He looks like he belongs immediately. Very, very good, young, bright future for that guy. Kevin Knight.
I bow down to Kevin Knight.
Yes. Very bright future for that fella. He will be taking on his partner from last night in a one-on-one match, Will Ospreay. I expect this match to be high-flying, that type of, flips and a lot of speed and agility. And it's going to be one of those type of matches that you would expect from these two guys. I expect this match to be a show stealer, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I know you can say that about anything that Will Ospreay is in, but Kevin Knight can match. Like Kevin Knight will match. He will match. This should be very, very good. But to me, this is Will Ospreay all day, every day.
Yeah.
Here, it's not Kevin Knight. I agree with you, Fernando. Kevin Knight will be a huge star, but he's not there yet. And Will Ospreay is the huge star.
Right now is going to be more about these types of matches.
Yeah. So Ospreay takes this one. Yeah, no question.
Yes.
Yeah. And then we go to the women's side, a rematch that we've seen before. It will be Mercedes Moné in her first round matchup going against the former TBS champion, Julia Hart. So we're seeing a little rematch from them too. We saw them fight a little while back. Now Mercedes, she beat Julia for the title, correct? Who did she beat for the TBS title? Was it Julia? Is that who she beat for? Right.
I think
so, right? Am I right?
Yeah.
My brain and my mind is terrible, but I'm pretty sure that's who she beat for the title.
Yeah, because she was a babyface then.
Yes. So this is a rematch from that. So they're fighting again in the first round of this tournament. I again expect this match to be good. I'm glad to see Julia Hart on the pay-per-view again. But again, much like I feel about Will Ospreay. Oh, she beat Willow for the title. Yeah, that's right, Scott. Was it Willow? I don't remember. Anyway, but I expect Mercedes to handle business and defeat Julia Hart on Sunday as well. So I expect the 2 matches they're giving us, I expect both of them to be good. But I expect I think they're pretty easy to choose that it's going to be Will and Mercedes. You
know what? Actually, yeah.
It was Willow?
I haven't gotten to it yet, but I'm about 1,000% sure that that's actually correct. Because
that it was Willow.
Willow won it from Julia Hart.
From Julia. Because Julia Hart was injured, right? She had to.
I don't know if it was that. Oh, no, I think, that's right. She had to go away for a little while. Yeah.
Yeah. Fair enough. So that's the Owen. So they start on Sunday, and then it will be going through the next, however
Yep.
long until we get to
She
Double or
won from
Nothing.
Willow.
Okay. So then
Now, what are the rest of the bracket
on the
for
women's?
the women?
Yeah. So on the left side, we have Jamie Hayter versus Billy Starks. Very much looking forward to that matchup right there. Jamie Hayter versus Billy Starks. We have Thunder Rosa versus Chris Statlander. And then on the right side, we have Julia Hart and Mercedes Moné. And then we have Harley Cameron and Athena. So
And there's going to be a tag match on Collision.
where it's going to be Harley Cameron teaming up with Mercedes Moné, which their segment they had backstage was great last night. Good to see them two on screen again. They are very good together. So they're fighting against Athena and Billy Starks, correct? Or it's not Billy Starks, Julia Hart. Is it Julia Hart and
Julia
Athena?
Hart,
Yeah, they're opponents, right? So that's what they're doing there. So I agree with you, Fernando. I do think the women's bracket is stronger than the men's this year. I do agree. Jay White getting hurt is really, Jay White being added, because it was supposed to be Will Ospreay versus Jay White in the first round, which is a ridiculous match. And that's not a knock at Kevin Knight. Kevin Knight's excellent. But if you throw Jay White into that bracket like it was supposed to be, like he was supposed to be, that men's bracket is a lot stronger than it is currently. But I do agree. I do think the women's bracket is stronger this year for sure. All right, let's move on. We have a trios match for the AEW World Trios Championships.
Titles that do exist, if you may have
Yes.
forgotten about them.
Yes. No bonkers. Oh, never mind. I read that wrong. We'll get to that. It's the Death Riders against Rated FTR. Before we get into that, we do have people, obviously talking about the women's bracket, because if things align properly, Drew, a match that a lot of people have been champing at the bit for, Athena and Mercedes, it will happen not even in the finals of this tournament. It will happen in the second round of this tournament. So obviously
they're like second round worthy.
No, and they're going to be in a tag. I'm surprised, they're doing a tag match where they're going to be in the ring with each other and get physical with each other really right away. For a match that's been talked about for as long as Athena versus Mercedes has kind of been talked about, and for how a lot of the fans view this as like, holy crap, this is a match that we've been waiting for a long time. It really feels like they're just kind of giving it to us right away. Like there was
a rumor that it was even going to happen at Dynasty.
Yeah. But I mean, we're not far away. Like it's going to happen after Dynasty on regular television. It looks like
it's
what we're getting.
Strange.
But
AEW does not shy away from doing big matches on TV, though,
which I appreciate. So yeah, they're on the same side of the bracket, which I thought for sure they would be on the other side.
That could be at Spring Breakthrough.
Yeah, that would be my guess. That would be my guess, that at main events, Spring Breakthrough, one of those nights in spring.
For that would be really cool.
Yeah. Yeah. So my thing is, that's what I would expect. I would expect. Yeah. Yeah. Maybe Ophelia. Maybe.
Who would Harley Cameron face if that happened?
Mercedes.
Oh, she'd face Mercedes.
The winner of Harley Cameron and Athena are going to face Mercedes, because she's not going to lose to Julia Hart. As much as pro Julia Hart as I am, she's not going to lose to Julia Hart. So Mercedes is facing the winner of Harley Cameron and Athena, which you would think would be Athena. But then again, that sets up.
That's how you could get it to be Mercedes and Harley instead.
You could have it be Mercedes and Harley again if Mercedes did get involved and help Harley beat Athena. And kind of screw Athena over that way. And then you could also play that into Mercedes being scared of Athena, not wanting to face Athena. And then you get the rematch with her and Harley, which would be a good little thing because the first match was good and they're good on screen together. You could do that, and then that prolongs until we actually do get Athena and Mercedes, which it feels like kind of having it. Obviously, it's in an important tournament, but kind of having it in the second round of a tournament, it kind of feels like I don't know. It just feels like it should be a little bit bigger than that.
Yeah,
like for the finals of the tournament.
I do agree.
Or like, you know what I mean? But we'll have to see. We'll have to see what they do. But it seems like we're getting that match sooner than later, like very sooner than later here. All right, but let's get back. Trios match. Athena will win the title. Johnny says Athena will win the title at All In. She is Texas. She says maybe beating Megan Bank. Well, we're going to talk about that. We'll talk about that match. When we get there, trust me, we will, because we have been saying it for weeks now. All right, trios match, Death Riders, rated FTR. We've obviously seen the dissension happening between FTR and Copeland, but really Dax and everybody. Last night, there was a backstage segment where Dax was fined $10,000 because on Collision after a match, he snapped and he attacked referee Paul Turner. He was fined $10K, and we saw a backstage segment where Dax again had to apologize for some of his actions for the second week in a row. And then he said he was fine, but he talked to Tony Khan, and he asked if he could just give the $10K directly to Paul Turner. So not to the company, but directly to the referee that he assaulted. He did that. He did that. Paul Turner said, thank you. And then Dax kind of turned his attention to Cash, and he said, hey, we're brothers. Sometimes we don't see eye to eye, but I love you more than almost anybody else in my life, I assume, besides his wife and child. Dax is right there. And he says, you know, we're going to get through this. I love you. We're going to be fine, blah, blah, blah. And he goes for a hug. And when he goes for a hug, Dax goes like that. And he doesn't even look. He says the first part, not even looking at Dax. He says it at Renee. He goes, we're going to be fine on Sunday. We're going to be fine on Sunday. And then he looks right at Dax. He goes, but after Sunday, we got to talk. And Drew, I know you're a married man, but when somebody tells you that we need to talk, not usually a good thing. It's not usually a good conversation happening after the we need to talk thing.
Well, I will
1,000% center. We talked about that last week. We're going to get into it now. That to me is the all-in match right there.
I think that this is actually a ruse. And I think that both members of FTR are turning on Copeland on Sunday.
What about Edge turning on them?
I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me really right now, because why would Copeland turn on Cash when Cash has not done anything to him?
It's fair.
I feel like it's more.
A turn is coming. They're not making it out of this match. Like a turn is happening here. And I think when you look at this, logic tells you it would be FTR. They are the ones that aren't seeing eye to eye. Dax has had an attitude. Like the logic, wrestling logic would tell you that Cash will end up aligning with Dax and they'll turn on Copeland. But I'm also the type of guy that's like, well, what if they just flip it and they have Copeland say, nah, screw you both. And Copeland's the guy that turns. Because I do think this will lead to, this is the start of Copeland and Christian, Edge and Christian getting back together. Like, I do feel like that this, once FTR either turns or whatever happens here, this is the first step in eventually getting Edge and Christian back together. Because I do think we are going to see that, because there's dissension in the patriarchy too. We haven't seen Christian for a little bit. Nick Wayne's dissension. There's dissension going on over there too.
Yeah.
So I could see.
They're definitely doing that together on purpose.
Yes. So I could see Christian, and I agree. even though them getting back together would pop the crowd, clearly the crowd would be excited, whether they're bad guys, good guys, or in between. The crowd's going to be like, holy shit, man, Edge and Christian, like, this rules. Right? Like, everyone's going to be ready for it. But I do feel like I kind of want them as heels. Because Christian is just naturally so friggin' good and so is an Edge. We just haven't seen Edge as a heel since he's come back. Judgment Day stuff a little bit, but that was kind of But like, we haven't really seen Adam Copeland, Edge, whatever you want to call him. We really haven't seen him as a heel in a long, long time, but he's a great heel too. So I'm just kind of like, but logic tells you that Edge and Christian will be the good guys and FTR will be the bad guys. And that's kind of, but I do think that's where we're heading. I think at All In, a big giant tag match, you get a Copeland and Christian against FTR. I think that's a huge match for All In.
Because I feel like what makes the most sense is FTR turn on Copeland, and then maybe when, or if, I can't say when, because we don't really know if he is going to come back, but we do know that his health is getting better. Luchasaurus could be coming back, and Nick Wayne and Kip Sabian finally just have enough of Christian and beat him down. Then Adam Copeland comes to make the save.
Good.
And that's how you get the baby faces, Adam and Christian versus heel FTR. Because I don't see in what world, just because they were former friends, Copeland and Christian get together as heels. There was a whole bunch of negativity and bad history between them.
Oh, yeah.
Since Adam Copeland came to AEW. So for them to just be like, oh, hey, now we're both bad guys. So yeah, that's not the right way to do it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I think to me, it's like when it comes to them two, it's a very much a Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens type situation with me. Like, we know their history, they're real life best friends their whole lives. So even though they like have hated each other a little bit, them getting back together, to me, I don't need a grandiose story of how they get back together. They've literally been best friends their whole lives. You know what I mean? Like,
we haven't been best friends lately.
Yeah, but neither has Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn have hated each other about 7 different times and then became friends again because of their history and the story. Like, it's a very similar thing to me. It's not too much different from that. Lifelong friends, basically brothers, have known each other their whole lives, have been friends on screen, have hated each other on screen, but they always end up going back to each other. Kind of thing. Like, it's very similar vibes for me. So, like, I do agree it shouldn't just happen out of nowhere without any story, like, any major thing happening. But like, it wouldn't be one of those things where I'd be like, holy crap, Edge and Christian are together? Man, that makes no sense.
Yeah,
like, you know what I mean?
I mean,
it's
I
like,
wouldn't
I
be
view
like
it
that
that
either.
way.
I'm just saying that it would be like, okay, but you literally were just like trying to murder each other. So why are you now together all of a sudden?
Yeah. We would need more in this case because literally Christian tried to cash in and steal the title from Copeland literally a month ago at Revolution.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? So like, we would need a little bit there, but I don't think there really needs to be a lot of story told when it comes to those two guys getting back together. It doesn't have to be a grandiose thing. It can be a very little thing that leads to it. And it's like, yeah, right. It's Edge and Christian.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So we're both in agreement that the Death Riders retain here.
Yes. Death Riders retain. And then I think either like, do you think like at this show, like at the end of this match, it happens? Or do you think it's something that happens like on the next, like the television
here,
like you happen at the show?
Yeah.
I lean to agree with that. All right. Singles match for the AEW TNT Championship. This match has, at least according to Wikipedia, it says this match has no time limit and no outside interference is permitted. That's what it says on Wikipedia. And it is Daniel Garcia defending against Adam Cole, baby. I feel bad for Daniel Garcia because they really screwed him with this title reign. But I think Adam Cole should win this match. I think Adam Cole should win this match. I think Adam Cole should be the new TNT champion. I think he needs something. And I think this is good. Yeah, exactly. Exactly, Spencer. Yeah. I think Adam Cole should win. I think Adam Cole is the right choice to win. I think Adam Cole is the right choice to be the TNT champion because they'll get Adam Cole on television. Unlike they've done with Daniel since he won it. I do think Adam Cole is a guy that they will at least focus on with this title. And they won't bury like Daniel Garcia, which has been terrible. It is not his fault at all. It's been the booking. They did the same thing with Private Party and him. It was literally the same show, same thing. Hey, all right, yeah, we want to give you guys titles. Okay, hey, you won them, and now we have no fucking plan for you guys after you won them, and their title reigns both were terrible, and neither of them deserved it. Daniel Garcia got a raw deal, but yeah, I think this should be Adam Cole's all day, Drew.
Yeah, I kind of agree. As much as I would maybe like to see Daniel Garcia turn heel,
Oh, that'd be good. I wouldn't
maybe
mind
he
that.
would retain by turning heel.
I didn't think about that. That'd be okay. I'd be okay with that.
Because his as much as I love him, his character is really kind of just blah right now.
Yeah,
And
100%.
if I do remember correctly, he has been kind of a little bit more heelish, a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So I can see this like this is the chip on his shoulder, and nobody is supposed to be involved. Nobody can be like interfering or anything. But we don't know if that's actually gonna end up happening. Like Spencer said. But I don't know. I kind of feel like I would like to see him retain by kind of like doing a heel turn in the match and just being a complete piece of shit. But I understand Adam Cole winning too because it's Adam Cole and he has not won a title yet in this company.
No,
Right?
I do not believe so. No.
So, he feels like a TNT champion, but I also would like to not just have Adam Cole win and then Daniel Garcia is nowhere to be found. Because honestly, I don't know what you do with Daniel Garcia if he loses.
Yeah, it's fair. It's fair. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know where Garcia goes. I don't know. But yeah, they just really haven't done him a good service here. And I feel like they just gave him this title so he'd resign.
Feeling that way.
That's the vibe I get, man. I don't know how I can't feel that way. That they were like, hey, we're gonna put you, there you go. Pluggo said it. Dancing Daniel Garcia gets his nipples hard. Me and Pluggo enjoy different things. My nipples get hard when people savagely beat people to bloody death. Apparently, with Gunther on Monday. But yeah, it's true. I don't think I can't look at this reign from Daniel Garcia and think that it is anything other than Tony Khan was like, hey, we want you to re-sign. This is what we think of you. We're going to have you fighting for this title and winning this title. We want to put this title on you. Re-sign. And then he re-signed and they were like, okay, here's the title. And they were like, we really just did that to get you to re-sign. Because there's been no story for him after he won that title or since he re-signed at all. No story whatsoever.
No, you're right.
Just not a proper way to do
had
business.
a single memorable feud with this title since he won it.
No. And to me, like, I look at it, I get it. Business is business. But yeah, I don't think that's the right way to do business because that's the vibe I'm getting. That's the vibe I'm getting. So it is what it is as we move on, but we both have Adam Cole becoming the new TNT champion on Sunday. All right, 3 matches left to discuss. We have a 3-way for the AEW International Championship. It will be Kenny Omega defending against Ricochet and our pal Speedball Mike Bailey. In my opinion, this should open the show. It will be the best match on the show. This match should be a special one between these 3 fellas. I'd love to see Ricochet steal it, to be honest with you. But
Me
Kenny
too.
Omega, I think Kenny Omega is going to retain. I think Kenny Omega is going to retain.
I'm very biased when it comes to Ricochet, as you point out. But
yeah, I mean, look, I would love to see Speedball win it right away too, because Speedball's excellent, and I think they've done a really good job in his early weeks here as well. But to me, they're going to Kenny and Okada at All In to unify those titles, and I think that's where we're heading here. So I think this match is going to be the best match of the show. It's going to be incredible. But Kenny Omega is going to win. Kenny Omega is going to win. You know?
Yeah. It's unfortunate because I would like... It's not that it's unfortunate. It's just that it's too predictable. This one's just way too predictable. Obviously, Kenny Omega is winning. But I also would really like to see Ricochet just score an upset, and Fernando wants
look again
to score an upset, but it's you know,
this is one of those matches where no matter who wins, I'm perfectly okay with it.
Yeah,
if any of these 3 guys win, I'm like, yeah, all right, I'm in. I got it. We're good. At Dynasty Bonkers, I would say no. I do think there is a small chance he's the wild card on the in the Owen on the men's side. I don't think it will be him, but I do think there's a chance. But I do think we see him soon. I just, when I'm looking at the Dynasty card, Bonkers, I don't know where he would pop up to debut. You know what I mean? Unless they did like an interview segment with him, or they just announced it and he was in the, which they don't really do in AEW. I just don't really see a spot on the pay-per-view.
I think Swerve was actually the last one they did that with.
Yeah. I don't really see a spot on the pay-per-view where he would just show up randomly or like debut or come to help. Like, I just don't see that spot on this show. But yeah, so yeah, again, Drew, I would be totally okay with any result that we get with the 3 of these guys, any one of them. I'm totally behind and totally okay. I really like all 3 of these guys. But it's Kenny Omega, because they are Omega and Okada is happening. And I do think they'll both be champions when it happens. So yeah, I just feel like that's what we're getting. But I do think this match is going to be special. I think this match is going to be a showcase for Speedball. I think it's going to be a big time showcase for Speedball.
Definitely.
And I think they're going to make him, he already is $1 million, but they're going to make him look like the star of this match. Because he is the newest of the 3. And Speedball is going to look like the star of this match, as he should. All right. Now we just have our 2 world championship matches. It is for the women's world championship. It is Timeless Toni Storm, who we saw defeat Penelope Ford last night.
We already talked about one of the world championships already, didn't we?
Yeah, but I mean, we didn't really talk about, like, yeah, we did for the most part, but it is going to be the main event of the show, so I kind of left it for the end.
Sure.
But either way, Timeless Toni Storm defending against Megan Bayne. You know how I feel about this, Drew. I think they should do it. And they should have Megan Bayne beat her. That's how I feel about it.
Yes.
Is they should just
feel
do
very
it.
passionately about this.
I do as well. I feel very strongly about it. Again, if Toni Storm wins it and retains, she's spectacular. So like, I'm not, this is not in any way an anti-Toni Storm thing. You have an opportunity to really make someone, to really, really, really make someone here. And they have done a really good job of making Megan Bayne look like an immediate force since she's shown up. And I think you have a real opportunity to cement that by making her the champion right away. Again, doesn't have to hold it forever. She can lose it the very next pay-per-view, back to Tony, whatever you want to do. But I think if Tony loses to Megan Bayne, that does not hurt Tony at all. But
No.
I feel like if Megan Bayne loses this match, it hurts Megan Bayne.
It hurts her. Yes, that's exactly what we talked about last week.
Yep.
It
Yep.
only it helps everyone for Megan Bayne to win. It helps
Correct.
only Tony if Tony wins.
Yep.
And for what they have done, for what they have accomplished in this last month since Revolution, I have said it time and time again. This is the best domination build-up for a challenger for a world title post pay-per-view in this company. It has not been better than this. So to have it be squandered by Tony winning, I think does a complete disservice to Megan Bayne. And what do you do with her when she loses after that? Like, she's been so dominant in this division. Willow, Statlander. You know, she's teamed up with Penelope Ford here, and Penelope's helped her out.
She's dominated Toni Storm. She beat Toni Storm clean last week.
And Toni Storm, too, yeah. So for her to just now not win this match would be like, that was all for nothing. Capitalize now on how hot you've built up Megan Bayne and put the title on her.
I fully agree. I fully agree. Not sure that they will do that, but I fully agree with that. I think that they should do it. Yeah, and you know, Johnny in the chat, he says, I can't see 2 world titles changing hands. Well, Johnny, I agree with you because I am picking Jon Moxley to retain his AEW World Championship against Swerve. Not that I want that to happen. I want Swerve to win. But I think that Moxley, once again, will be leaving this pay-per-view as the AEW World Champion. So I agree with you, Johnny. I can't see 2 world titles changing hands either, because the one I do see changing hands is Megan Bayne defeating Toni Storm. And I think Jon Moxley retains the AEW World Championship against Swerve. I know we already talked about it.
I'm so scared.
I'm not going to do listen, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to sit here for the second or third time in a row and say that Moxley's going to lose when every time I say it, they don't do it. And I know Swerve is different and Swerve is great and we love Swerve and I want Swerve to win. I'm not doing it. I'm not picking Swerve to win because I'm not going to be that guy that gets on here with you on Sunday night and the first thing we're talking about is, oh, they did it again. They did it again. The Death Riders got involved and Moxley fucking won it the same way. And that, yep, they did it. I don't want to be that guy that's shocked about it on Sunday and comes on here angry like you were last month. Angry because we convinced ourselves that this was the end when it's not. And I'm not going to convince myself that this is the end. I will be convinced it's the end when I witness it with my fucking eyes. That's how I feel. That is how I feel about the Death Riders and this Moxley stuff. Do I want Swerve to win? Absolutely. Absolutely. Do I think Swerve is going to win? I don't feel strongly about it. Right now, I'm in the middle. So guess what? The safe choice is to pick what's happened every fucking month for 7 months. And that's Jon Moxley winning. And that's where I'm going. Doesn't make me feel good, Drew. Doesn't make me feel good. I don't feel good saying it. I don't. But that's where I'm at.
I don't even want to pick because I'm just like,
that's where I'm at.
It's like we said earlier. the Death Rider stuff has really just started to actually get good.
Yeah, like be pretty good. Yeah.
And I'm wondering now why they have not had the briefcase out with them for the last few weeks. Because I was mentioning that last night too with Sinner. Why now? It's been like since the match with Copeland. Now the briefcase isn't even coming out with them.
Mhm.
So
Yeah,
what's
because
that about?
didn't Edge, I keep on calling him Edge now. Didn't Copeland hit it with Spike? He hit the briefcase with Spike, did he not? The week before
Yes, that's right. That's right.
and we haven't seen the briefcase since.
No, we
Or at least
haven't.
I think we haven't seen the briefcase since he hit it
I
with
don't think
Spike.
so. Yeah, I don't think
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's
Telling you.
God.
Telling you. I listen.
I want it to be Swerve too, obviously.
Yes.
But
I think most of us would like it to be Swerve, right? I think Swerve is pretty universally loved at this point where like we all want it to be Swerve.
Scott, we
Do.
did not say that Mox would lose it on a random
No,
dynamite.
I don't think he's going to lose it on a random
We
on
will
a random
if he
dynamite.
does not lose at Dynasty, he loses at All In.
It's going to be a while.
That's what happens. But that's why I'm worried about this.
Yeah, and it's going to be a while. It's going to be a while.
Because it's going to be 3 full months until All In.
Yeah.
And that's another 3 months of not seeing the world title. Can you imagine in the current era of wrestling that a company's most coveted prize is not shown on television for 8 months? 8 months?
We've talked about this. I don't care about this aspect of it as much as you do. I care more about just the story has been shit up until the last 3 weeks. I care more about that more than the title not being. This is where you care more about the title not being shown than I do. I care more about the story has just been trash up until recently. But I'm not skipping over Double or Nothing, Ophelia. A Double or Nothing is one of their 2 major pay-per-views, so I'm not skipping over it. But I would think that if Moxley gets past Swerve, I feel like All In is going to be the next. Like, I feel like he'll make it to All In. I feel like make it to All In.
Swerve losing at Dynasty makes the Owen feel even more special. Because now the Owen is about who takes down Moxley for good. And that's what a couple weeks ago we even were talking about the Owen. Now it's not this now, but what it could have been if Swerve was going to lose on Sunday is everyone that they faced, that Moxley faced, leading to All In.
Yeah. And I felt like that's what it should have been. It should have been Orange Cassidy in there. It should have been Darby in there. It should have been Adam Cole. We do have Hangman. But we did talk about that on
But
here.
now
Like,
Jay White wouldn't be in it.
Yeah, Jay White's hurt now, sadly. So, but Jay White had been involved. It should have been all those guys that it should, Will Ospreay, fine. Yeah, I get it. But it should have been Darby, Orange Cassidy, Copeland, Hangman, Swerve. It should have been all the people that Moxley has beaten since taking this title should be in the tournament. And it's all them going, we're getting that fucking thing from that guy. We're taking him down finally. And I felt like that's the way they should have done it. Yeah, David, that's how that's how I feel like they've kind of made this Owen Hart tournament. Now, it just started being for world title champion opportunities last year. So the first couple years, you just won like a trophy and a belt. And they still treated it like a big deal. But now there's stakes where you can get world championship opportunities if you win. So it's even bigger now. But yeah, I would say that this is their equivalent of the king or queen. Like, that's how they view it. Like, this is one of their main big tournaments of the year. That's how they view it. Man, I don't know, dude. I don't know.
I'm only
I don't know.
okay with Swerve losing if it makes sense. If it's
Yeah.
Hangman costing, maybe even Hangman cost him by accident.
Yeah.
Maybe Hangman goes to cost him, then goes, no, he acknowledged that he was wrong. And while that's happening, that ends up distracting Swerve, and Swerve ends up losing as a result of that.
Yeah.
And
And
then Swerve is the
yeah.
wild card.
Yeah. And the finals of these tournaments are happening at Double or Nothing. So we're not going to know who's fighting for the championship at All In on the women's or men's side until Double or Nothing. So then you can get that visual. Let's say Osprey wins the turn. Let's just say for shits and giggles, it's Osprey and Hangman in the final, and Osprey wins. Okay, Osprey wins. Later on that night, if Moxley is still the champion, who he fights, he wins, and then you have that visual of Osprey and Moxley looking at each other, knowing, hey, 6 weeks from now or 7 weeks from now, these two are on a collision course for All In, and I think that's kind of what you're looking for when it comes to that. Which again, I think Swerve should win on Sunday, but if he doesn't and Moxley retains, I just feel like Moxley wins against whoever he fights at Double or Nothing, and then we are building the build to the guy who finally takes Moxley down at All In.
I will say legitimately, as long as it makes sense, the
Moxley
I
thing. I
will
think Moxley
not
would have won.
be what?
Are you talking about Moxley here? Or are you talking?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
I will, as long as it makes sense, I will not be mad if Moxley retains. As long as it makes sense. If it's just a standard bullshit thing like what happened at Revolution, do not expect me to be happy about it. I'm just letting you know. I will, because I'm not going into it like I went into Revolution thinking Copeland was going to win. I'm not going into it thinking that Swerve is going to win. But I will only be okay with it if it makes sense.
Okay. We'll have to see. We'll have to see how they do it. I wasn't convinced that Copeland was going to win at Revolution. I thought Christian was going to leave with the title. I didn't think it, but I think we all kind of went into Revolution thinking that something else was going to happen. But I don't know, man. I don't know.
I'm okay with it. I will be okay with it now if it makes sense.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah.
And I would like, to me, Hangman being involved in some sense makes sense to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, you don't want to see that, but
listen, I'm torn about it because I think if Hangman gets involved, the only thing he should be doing is helping Swerve win. But a part of me does not want to see him helping Swerve this soon. So that is really where I'm at with it.
Because I'm thinking, because FTR and Copeland are going to be involved in something, I doubt that they're going to be still a team after that something. So they're taken out of the equation for helping Swerve.
Yep.
Does Orange Cassidy just randomly decide to show up when he doesn't even have a match at the show to help Swerve?
I think Christian. Yeah, I don't know. We have a couple people saying, "What if Christian's the wild card in the Owen?" That's a good choice as well.
Oh,
that's a good choice as well. I feel like that would be a good choice. I think he would lose to Hangman in that first round, but Christian is a good choice for sure. What if it was Adam Copeland? Why not Adam Copeland?
Hold on. If Swerve loses by Hangman either intentionally or unintentionally costing him, I think
Swerve would make sense then.
Swerve then costs Hangman.
Yeah, that makes sense. That would make sense for me.
So I would say
Logically,
Christian
as
would
they
win
say.
that.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, there's a lot of
Or
variables. There's a lot
anybody,
of
whoever the
yeah,
wild card would be would end up
exactly.
winning it.
Exactly. There's a lot of variables. We really need to
Unless the
see.
wild card ends up being Swerve.
Yeah, we need to really see how everything kind of looks. How everything kind of looks, because there's a lot of variables about different things can happen pending on if things, there's like pieces that need to fall together for certain things to happen that we don't know that this can definitely happen without these two other things happening. You know what I mean? So it's like, that's
Right.
kind of where we're at. We need like dominoes to fall a little bit. But that is the full card of AEW Dynasty. I do expect over the next 2 days or so, we will get 2 or 3 pre-show matches announced, maybe another match added to the main card. Who knows? But right now, there are 9 matches for the main card.
Isn't Big Boom AJ doing something?
Are they doing something again? Two pay-per-views in a row? They did. They were on something last time, weren't they? Revolution,
Or
they
maybe
did?
not. Maybe I was thinking of the last pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Never mind.
So I assume we'll get I feel like we're going to get 10 matches on the main card. So I feel like we're going to get one more match announced for the main card, and then we'll get 2 to 3 matches announced for the pre-show. And that's kind of how we'll do things. That's usually been the vibe when it comes to AEW pay-per-views. But either way, should be another good one. AEW really doesn't miss when it comes to pay-per-views. I expect this to be the same and follow that route. But listen, guys, I see a lot of people mentioning Keith Lee. I would love that. But I don't think any of us
Keith Lee
know
joined the
enough.
Death Riders.
Yeah, I don't think any of us know enough about his health currently
No,
to
I wouldn't expect that.
be hoping or thinking that anything involving Keith Lee will be happening. It would be tremendous if it did. And I would love to see that guy at some point because he is very, very good. But I think we don't know enough about his health and what's going on there to be thinking that he's going to do anything. But yeah, that is AEW Dynasty. I know we didn't talk about like every little thing that happened on Dynamite last night in detail, but we talked about all the stuff that involved people in on the show, on the card, on the pay-per-view, and things of that nature. Anything that happened on Dynamite that we want to talk about in the next couple minutes before we get out of here? Or did we hit everything of importance? Because I know there were obviously things that didn't involve anybody on the pay-per-view as well, but I feel like for the most part, we talked about the mixed tag, we talked about the FTR stuff, Tony and Penelope, the MVP, MJF stuff. Yeah, I feel like that was all really the main stuff, right? The main event I thought was actually pretty good with Copeland and Claudio. I thought that was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really feel like we kind of hit everything, right? So, yeah, last year Hangman was the wild card, bonkers, and it was against Jeff Jarrett. So there was a wild card against Jeff Jarrett last year, and Hangman was the guy that entered and beat Jeff Jarrett, which makes me think there's a chance that Jeff Jarrett is the wild card this year. But obviously he will not beat Hangman unless Swerve. Again, there are ways to, if Hangman does end up screwing Swerve, I could see Swerve. I could see Swerve screwing Hangman, like Drew said. So if they did do a thing, even with Jeff Jarrett, if they did do a thing where it was Jeff Jarrett who like answered the wild card to get back at Hangman and Swerve screws Hangman and Jeff Jarrett gets a win, that's a neat little thing they could do to kind of get back at Hangman.
I would not hate that at all.
Yes. Yeah. So that's like a neat thing they could do there because obviously Jeff Jarrett and Owen are, I think, there's a history there clearly. So I don't know, but should be a great pay-per-view. Next Thursday, we'll be back here talking all about the pay-per-view and the fallout from the pay-per-view on next week's Dynamite and things of that nature. Obviously, Drew and I will be back here on Tuesday before that, talking some firmly WWE as we get closer and closer to WrestleMania and everything that's going on there. But next Thursday, we will be breaking down all of...
Do we want to let the firmly AEW audience know the potential changes that may be coming? We did on Tuesday.
If you were here on Tuesday, listen, next week is going to be a normal week here at Firmly for us. We're going to be live on Tuesday for WWE. We're going to be live on Thursday for AEW. And then most likely there'll be changes coming in the near future. Not really sure what those changes are. We're not going anywhere. But my Tuesdays and Thursdays at 10 a.m. are not going to be as open as they have been this last year plus or so. So we're going to have to kind of figure out a new game plan. And kind of figure out what this show becomes. So this show could become a once a week type of show. Maybe we stay on, I'm just going to have to figure it out. So just be on the lookout on our socials. Follow us at Firmly LW on Twitter. Follow me and Drew personally. And we'll figure it out. It shouldn't be, we're not going anywhere. Like I said, it's not like we're the show's ending. We're just going to have to probably figure out what the new weekly schedule looks like for Firmly and go from there. So we should have more info on that. Hopefully by the time we're done our show here next Thursday, I would have more of an idea of what that looks like, but in the next coming weeks. So just stay tuned with us. We should be okay. Nothing, we're going to figure it out. We're going to figure it out. Drew and I have already started throwing some ideas out there, but I don't really know what my schedule is going to look like. And I probably won't know what it's going to look like for a little bit. So it's really just kind of maneuvering around it until we know what it is and then kind of settling on something new. That's our new spot. This is where you come find us. Let's do the thing. So stay tuned. Follow us on socials. And once we kind of have an idea of what we're doing and what it looks like, we will get it out to you guys as soon as we possibly can. But other than that, we're going to get up on out of here. We appreciate you guys in the chat. Appreciate everyone tuning in. Appreciate all the likes and thumbs ups. We hit 15. We almost made it to 20. We should have made it to 20. But 15 is good. I'll take 15. But appreciate y'all. Share this out. Hit that thumbs up for a like. Drew, plug your stuff, and then I'll do my thing, and then we can get out of here.
You can follow me at the Drew Nicholas on Twitter and Blue Sky. You can find me on the Roundtable Pro Wrestling Podcast with Thorn in my side, who came back today, Mr. Sunday Sinner, and other wonderful gentlemen. And follow LW, which you'll definitely want to follow Firmly LW now on Twitter. So this way we'll be keeping you all up to date on the happenings of Firmly Love Wrestling and what our plans are going to be in the coming weeks.
Yep, there you go. You can follow me at JPJ Loves Gaming on all social media platforms. I will be right back here tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, the flagship show here at Love Wrestling, Between Two Beards. It'll be me and Pluggo. We got a big guest tonight. We got Phil Lindsay from the Grapsity podcast, from Fightful, Bleacher Report. He's been on the show before. He's a friend of the show. We're very excited to have him back on. We're going to be talking some WrestleMania, road to WrestleMania. We're going to be diving into more Dynasty talk. It should be a really good time tonight. Phil is one of the greats, one of the great people in this space, just one of the best. We're very excited to have him on. Drew told you where you can find us every Tuesday and Thursday, at least through next week. But you can find us on Firmly Love Wrestling here at Love Wrestling. Other than that, after Raw on Mondays, now that we're going back to normal Raws next week, it'll be at night around 10:30, 10:45. You can hop on over to bodyslam.net. You can catch me over there with Nick and Corey on the Raw Dogs post show. And then you can follow me on Twitch at JPJ Loves Gaming, where I play a bunch of video games and have some fun over there a lot of time during the week. So that's where you can find me. That's where you can find us. Again, appreciate you all being here. Drew and I will see you next Tuesday. I will see you later on tonight for Beards. But until then, y'all know the drill. Peace out.